That's right, Aaron, and it's still unclear why exactly this happened, but we can tell you that investigators say the pastor actually invited the man over to his home, offering help with a personal problem, but for unknown reasons, that meeting quickly turned deadly. Pastor Herbert Valero dedicated his life to helping the downtrodden, welcoming the outcast and marginalized with open arms at Victory Outreach Church. And that's what he was doing when he was killed. Police say 37-year-old Servando Ayala Silva reached out for help. The pastor met with him outside his home Tuesday night to pray, and that's when Silva allegedly stabbed the pastor in the neck.
It really took my breath away. And even after we received phone call after phone call, you just didn't want to believe it.
Cheyenne and her husband Juan credit Pastor Herb for helping them turn their lives around.
The world that I came from before I got saved was gangs, drugs, and just a lot of darkness. And when I came into contact with Pastor Herb for the first time, he through his testimony alone, it just showed me that I do have a second chance.
I was pregnant and addicted and in jail. And I mean, who reaches out to that woman without judgment other than God? Who reaches out and says, just hold my hand and we'll make it through? Pastor Herb was that person for us.
There are countless stories of overcoming drug addiction, homelessness, and incarceration with the help from the pastor, who also worked with city leaders to address problems like gang violence.
He was a naughty nonsense type of person because he would hold you accountable. Well, you said you were going to do it, so let's do it.
And tonight, friends, family, and the congregation of Victory Outreach Church are gathered here for a vigil in honor of Pastor Herb, sharing more of those stories and memories of the pastor who helped them all through difficult times, and of course, offering support for the pastor's surviving wife and kids. Aaron.
All right, Bianca, thank you. As for the accused killer, he initially fled the scene, but police were alerted to his whereabouts by his family. He was then arrested and booked into the Monterey County Jail, facing murder charges.
Another murder last night, this one in Soledad. That's where a victim was shot outside his home on San Diego Place. Action News reporter Felix Cortez is at Soledad PD, live right now with details. Felix?
And Dan, in this case, the victim told family members he was going outside for some air. Seconds later, they heard gunshots. Tuesday night, just before 10:30, Luis Segovia walked outside his home. Minutes later, he would be shot dead.
The only thing we do know is that family members said that he said, I'm going to go out and get some air shortly before it happened. He had not been outside of the residence for long, maybe a couple minutes before the incident occurred.
Based on that statement, it sounds like maybe he was expecting someone or going outside to meet someone.
It's hard to say. You know, we just don't have enough information about that.
The 35-year-old Segovia was conscious when emergency crews arrived, but couldn't give details of his killer. Police working very few leads, and like most shootings, dealing with even fewer witnesses. The shooting coming just days after a state lawmaker introduced legislation that would help small cities like Soledad get grants to help pay for shot spotter technology. Sensors placed around the city give police the heads up on gunfire and where it's coming from.
They've actually seen some improvements in certain neighborhoods throughout the cities that people are more cognizant, that they know that if they shoot up in the air, they could be identified, and before you know it, have law enforcement knocking on your door investigating the shooting.
Soledad already uses surveillance cameras. Police chief says ShotSpotter could be another crime-fighting tool.
And the criminal element is aware that we have more of those tools out there. That's encouraging for us to go ahead and use that information to hopefully prevent crime from occurring, and just let these people know that we're going to use every tool in our toolkit to make sure that we can solve crime and prevent it.
And late this afternoon, I got some new information regarding the victim from his wife, and she tells me that Eduardo Segovia was just released from prison 5 months ago after serving a 7-year stint. She also says that he dropped out of gangs 12 years ago and hasn't had any recent contact with police. Segovia is Soledad's second murder of the year, and detectives looking into whether or not both murders are somehow connected. Dan, Aaron.
All right, thank you very much, Felix. Police say they're working several tips regarding Segovia's murder, but they weren't at liberty to talk about them. They don't want to compromise the ongoing investigation.